Coco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and we are brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. You can go online and check out all of their pizza deals for those football or baseball nights. Go and check them out at papajohns.com. All right, Barry, let's start with 5 and 5. We got 5 topics, about a minute each. And let's start with this one. Is Kliff Kingsbury a scoundrel? I mean, that's the word used by Baker Mayfield's dad this week, as we found out that Mayfield, who's now at OU, would not be granted immediate eligibility, but will receive a scholarship. I mean, last week you called Kingsbury the Anna Kournikova of college football. You going to go with scoundrel too?
Well, I don't think so. I had nothing against the Anna Kournikova. I don't think she's a scoundrel. I don't think Baker Mayfield, I think his dad's a little bit off base here. I see no evidence that Kliff Kingsbury's a scoundrel. Kliff Kingsbury's just following a Big 12 rule, which is if you transfer within the conference, you lose a year of eligibility. And the only appeal to that, I guess, is if the school that you leave says, okay, it doesn't matter. To me, if it's a bad rule, change the rule. If it's, if there's something sinister about this rule, we know it exists to prohibit, to try to trim transfers within the conference. I don't know if that's a good rule or not. I don't know if that's a good theory or not. But I can tell you this. I believe in following rules. If you have the rule, follow it. If it's a bad rule, it's not up to Kliff Kingsbury to change it. It's up to the Big 12 fathers to do it. So I'm going to say no on Kliff Kingsbury being a scoundrel.
Well, and I think probably as much as anything, Baker Mayfield's dad is looking for who to blame in this whole thing, because essentially since Baker transferred to OU, they've been fighting the Big 12, they've been fighting Texas Tech, they've been fighting the NCAA. So there's been a lot of institutions that they've been fighting, but I think Kliff Kingsbury puts a face on it for them. And so I think to call him a scoundrel is probably a way to find someone to blame in this whole thing. But yeah, I think the rule, especially as it relates to walk-ons, Baker Mayfield, a walk-on at Tech, did not have a scholarship. Maybe that needs to be the caveat added to the rule. But right now as the rule stands, everybody's following the rules. So the NCAA actually allowed a break in the rules to give Mayfield a scholarship immediately, even though he's not eligible immediately. So maybe that needs to be the change. Change it so if you're a walk-on, you could maybe transfer within the school. The schools in the Big 12. All right, let's go with this one, Barry. Hey, who should be the next coach at Kansas?
Well, I think there's some really great. Coaches out there. I like the guy at Pitt, Jamie Martin, is a very good. He's a very good coach. You look at some of the young guys around the nation that have done well in the NCAA tournament. I don't think Bill Self's leaving anytime soon, though, so I really don't think it matters right now. But I would look for the young up and comer in March Madness, though. Kansas always has its eye out.
Oh boy, a huckster. That's what you're going to be. So Kansas fires Charlie Weis, and
you're talking football?
Yeah.
Well, why would we care about football? Kansas doesn't care about football. You think Kansas? I actually never graduated from Kansas, in part because I never went to the University of Kansas. They don't hand those things out. You did.
I did.
You know how they feel about football, which is pass me the basketball schedule so I can plan my year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. How about Brent Venables? Now, he's a K-State guy, but grew up in Hutch, Kansas through and through, so
maybe
I'll vote for Brent Venables.
Well, you know what? Clint Bowen is the guy that they've got in there as the interim coach right now. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. He's a Lawrence guy, a Kansas alum, so his ties to Kansas are deep. I think some people would like to see Kansas go with an alum in that spot. Can't hurt. I mean, they've gone the other way, and it didn't work out with Turner Gill or Charlie Weis or anybody else that they've hired in the last decade or so. But you know what? I think there's some interesting assistants if they look around the Big 12. You mentioned Venables. I think a guy like Glenn Spencer up at OSU might get a look. We keep saying, why is he not getting some looks? I think Glenn Spencer, they've got to go get guys in recruiting that other people have passed on. Make them play well. No excuses. Don't beat yourself. I think Glenn Spencer could coach a team up like that. All right, Barry, let's turn to the Thunder. They've opened training camp this week. But is Sam Presti really looking forward to Kevin Durant's free agency? That's what he said. I'm looking forward to it. Really?
I think he's looking forward to it with trepidation and angst. Heck no. How could he do that? I mean, that'd be like me saying, I'm looking forward to the day when I have to have heart surgery. No, I don't want to. I mean, it might turn out fine, but I don't want to go through it if I don't have to. So, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, Presti would love it if Durant would sign early, which probably not going to happen, but no, this is not something you look forward to. It's something you have to go through,
right.
But no chance is it anything pleasant.
No, I can't imagine he really is looking forward to it. If Kevin Durant walked in tomorrow and said, hey, let's go ahead and do that deal. Let's just get it out of the way. Believe me, Sam Presti's looking forward to free agency does not trump that. He would sign him in a heartbeat. So, no, he's not looking forward to it. But they do have a chance to keep Kevin Durant. There's no doubt about it. If you look around the league at the spots he could land and be in as good a spot to contend for a championship, there aren't many, Barry. So they're going to be in a spot, unless things change dramatically in a couple years, where they can land him. So you have to at least look forward to that. All right, our fun question of the week. So, Steven Adams shows up at Media Day with the mustache to end, maybe not all mustaches, but it was pretty grand.
It was good.
So who's the Thunder you'd like to see try a mustache next?
Well, step aside, Landry Jones. You no longer have the most famous mustache in Oklahoma history. I will say this. I think there's a lot of candidates. I think it'd be fun to see Russell Westbrook with a mustache. I think it'd be fun to see Scotty Brooks with a mustache. I'm going to vote for Clay Bennett, though, because here's the deal. Since Clay bought the Thunder, he's sort of gone into hiding, and he likes to stay incognito, likes to stay low-key, likes to let Sam and Scotty Brooks do all the talking for the franchise. But if old Clay would grow one of those big honking mustaches like Steven Adams had, no way he could hide, no way he would sort of get lost in the shadows. He would stick out sitting there on the front row on the baseline at Thunder games. I think he would become an NBA sensation. So I'm voting for Clay Bennett, grow a mustache.
Well, and you know what's sad is that Adams' mustache is already gone. It's gone. He shaved it the first day of training camp, so we only saw it at Media Day. So basically, every picture of Steven Adams out there is going to have the mustache, but Steven Adams doesn't actually have the mustache. So I'm sad it's gone. But you know, I'm not real sure who I would say needs to grow a mustache. I think Scott Brooks would be a fun one, though. I think he's got a chance because occasionally you'll see him grow the scruff. I don't know if it's on the road or in the play. Sometimes he grows the scruff a little bit.
And when he lets his hair grow out, he's got a little of that 80s mod look every once in a while. So that would be interesting.
He could kind of go, maybe he could go all facial. Maybe he could do like the mustache and the beard. Yeah. I don't know.
Kendrick Perkins.
Foreman Scotty. All right, one more Thunder question before we get out of here, Barry. Name the Thunder starters on opening night. Who are the starting five?
I think it'll be the big three that we know of, Durant, Westbrook, and Ibaka. My guess on the other two, I'm going to say Andre Robertson, because I think Thunder has a history of going with a defensive guy at that two-guard spot. And I think at center, I think it'll be Steven Adams, in part because of Perkins' quad injury. He's not even going to really go through any workouts for 2 weeks. And I think that sort of makes it more likely that Adams starts. I don't know that means it's a decision that Scotty's made. I think it's more likely that just at the start of the season, it's Adams. And Adams, I think, is a good fit with Robertson because the Thunder needs more offense out of the center position if Robertson starts. It could stay that way, not necessarily will, though. Yeah,
I think if Perk's quad is healthy, I think if they feel good about him, he'll be the starting center. And I truly believe Steven Adams is the center of the future. And when that future is, I don't know. I don't know if it's the opening night. I don't think it is if Perk's healthy. I don't know if it's mid-season, if Perk gets traded before the trade deadline. But I would say by the end of the year, I would say Steven Adams is probably in that starting center position. But I think a lot does depend on the health of Perk. Does he get a chance to show anything in preseason, get his legs under him at all? And they're not going to risk it, Barry. I mean, they're just not going to push him into a situation if they don't need to. And they don't need to have him out there in a situation where he could re-injure it. So if he's at all a question, I think it's Adams at that spot, but I would not be surprised if Perk is the guy on opening night. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.